All right, I think we're recording here. I'll edit it out. Don't worry. Maybe not. Yeah. All right, power rankings post week 4. So I put this list together. DK is going to come in, chime in some thoughts, maybe wrong thoughts, maybe wrong opinions, but we'll see. So I think the worst team in the league, starting with 12, is Wesley's team. I think if you just look at his roster, I mean, like, who are these running backs? You got like who's it, Malcolm Brown, Duke Johnson, or Dearns Johnson, DJ Chark, Smith-Schuster, Hurst, Thomas. I mean, he had to deal with some injuries there. Steelers finally off the bye. I mean, this is a team without – I mean, Aaron Jones at one point gave him 40 points in a week, and he scored 120 in that week. So you have one player, scoring his, like, high, but that's one-third of his, like, points. So that's why I think, like, he's not going to be able to make a deep push there. But, what do you think, gang? This is the worst team in the league?
Dude, do I just look really crazy on my screen right now?
Yeah. Dude, you're, like, blending in with
I keeping it. Yeah, I would have to agree. There's not too much inspiration on this team.
Yeah.
I would say. I think if I was Wes, I would definitely be scrambling to make some trades.
Yeah, well, what do you even do here? Do you give up, like, do you trade Michael Thomas? I guess that's, like, the best bet. Lamar, I mean, if you go through his stats, 27, 17, 14.
I think at some point, he'll probably have to trade Aaron Jones to another team.
That's true.
Michael Thomas, if he does trade him, it's just off name value right now because, I'm looking at the stats, 3.2 week 1, 0, 0, 0.
Yeah.
If maybe he had a few weeks of production before the injury of high-level production, I think he'd probably be able to get some good value. But if anything, people are just going to try to lowball him. That's what I would do at least.
Or Sherrod, but yeah, same thing. All right. Number 11. I had to put this man at 11. And I think, like, him losing Saquon was a big deal because he's basically got Myles Gaskin as his, like, RB2. I mean, he's got, like, Ronald Jones, Todd Arthritis Gurley. Mm-hmm. And then, like, it's a pretty weak bench, I'd say. I mean, he has 2 quarterbacks. He's got
not too much going on the bench. And honestly in the starters as well, but I will say, he's got some good pieces in Metcalf and Kelsey. Ronald Jones is, like, fairly above average.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. This is 9, 9, 8, 15. He goes off. I mean, this is a guy that's going to average, like, this is like RB3 value, I'd say.
Yeah. Gurley, it's not the same Gurley as it was like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
He's pretty TD reliant.
Yeah. And one thing I will say is that, he had his best game like this past week against the Packers, 2 touchdowns here, right? So that's where the most of the projection's coming in. But they've been losing all these games, right? So maybe they step away from Gurley. Maybe they go to, the Brian Hill, the true
Honestly,
RB.
In my own analysis, Brian Hill's definitely looked like the more explosive back in that backfield.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't even have any. I mean, what handcuffs does this man have? Like, he didn't have any of the Giants' RBs, right, when Saquon went down. I mean, if Gurley goes down, what does he have next? He's putting up Adrian Peterson up? Ronald Jones. Marquise Brown, another. See, this is why the bench is so important because you have, like, guys like this that are not even putting up, like, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 numbers. And who's he going to replace it with? Like, these are all, like, guys that are, like, they might hit it once in a while, but that's why I don't like this team, man. And I don't know what you do. Like, you've lost your best piece, so.
Yeah. I think you just got to be diligent on those waiver wires.
Which I don't think he has, so. All right, let's move to the next one. Let's see who we got next. Chirag Manpara. I'll let you take a stab at this one.
To be honest, I'm surprised that you put Chirag at 10 because honestly, his team is, like, pretty good if I'm being completely unbiased. It's a little unfortunate, that Chubb is on IR.
True.
Huge for me, but a dag for Chirag.
True.
Honestly, like, Chirag has good pieces on his team. Calvin Ridley is tearing it up this year. I know he drafted Seg in the last game, but
yeah, he's wide receiver 1 for sure. I mean, I just think that, like, I mean, he's 1-3 at this point, right? So like, I mean, he's good. Losing Aaron Rodgers to bye this week. I mean, I think he could easily go 1-4 if he loses to. I mean, when he loses to Bullet this week. So I mean, what do you do then, right? Like, if you look at there are 5 people in this league that are 3-1. So I think that he can't really pivot off much. I mean, what I look at most for like the teams on the bottom end is like, okay, you're 1-3. How can you recover from this point, right? So Chubb, I mean, I think he's out for like, I mean, at least 3 weeks. I think they put him on that short-term IR, but like he's got 2 quarterbacks just like Dick, but he also has 2 defenses, right? So you're going off these 4 players here to replace these guys during bye weeks, and like all it took for him to lose this week is because Calvin Ridley put up 0. So, I mean, Calvin Ridley's not going to have these numbers again, right? With Julio being out, or possibly, he can't be the wide receiver 1 wide receiver 1.
I
So
think
that's
as
why.
the season goes on, Shrog will definitely pick up a few dubs. I mean, he's
Yeah.
definitely pretty solid.
Always some lackluster dubs, but somehow he pulls it out. Yeah, he beat me like 90, or I don't know, like 90-71 or something like that. But I mean, look, he's got goose egg with Calvin Ridley, goose egg with Will Fuller, right? It's just like there's some good players out there that constantly give you value, and like this is not one of them. Like Tyler Lockett, for example. Okay, well maybe not Tyler Lockett, but
We'll say the potential is definitely there. I think
yeah,
some of the losses were a little unfortunate.
yeah,
2 of those losses definitely came just because the other team just went ballistic that week.
true. Okay, maybe he's got some potential to move up. But next one, Peyton, and I had him as 9 because like I mean he was fortunate that he played. I forgot who he played last week, but he could have gone 0-4. But basically 1-3. Derrick Henry is probably not going to play for the rest of the season unless the Titans. I don't know what they're going to do with the Titans, right? He's got Derrick Henry, Bills defense, and Josh Allen, right? So like if and he's got AJ Brown. So if the Bills and Titans don't play this week, he's got 4 starters that are not going to play, right? That's an instant loss right there. And so you're looking at 1-4. And I don't know what you do here. I mean, I feel like he's like a situation of circumstance, like just because like these guys got COVID. I mean, Derrick Henry, 1st-round pick, right? I mean, I don't know when those Titans are going to play.
Absolutely.
What do you do next?
That's the risk with playing with this season, in the global pandemic that we are currently facing. I will say though, Peyton has a good team. I think again, like Sharag, his record is just like an unfortunate circumstance of just playing all that popped off those weeks.
Do you think he can beat like? I mean, I think if the COVID they move that game, he's going to lose this week. But like, I mean, he did go 8. He went like what 0-5 or like. I know he went 8-5 last year, and then he ended up winning the whole thing. So maybe it's a situation like that. That's the only way. Because otherwise, like, I mean, he's got some good pickups here.
There's no reason.
Justin Jefferson.
He's scoring over 100 every single week, which is a good sign.
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah, and I think like that's what you really need, right? You can't have like a team just pop off like go for 158 and then drop 71. It's got to show consistency. But the thing is, I don't think he scored more than like 105. Like if we go back to like week 4, let's see, 122, and then you have where is he at? 103. 102,
116,
and then 116. Okay, so I guess he's like hovering, which is that's pretty good. But
it's like above average.
Yeah,
it's just always above average, but never like at the ceiling.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right that like if he beats Pranav this week, I mean, I think he can totally beat Buzzboy next week, and then he's like right back on track to the every pack. So maybe I ranked him a little bit low, but only time will tell. So. Right. Oh, you can take this one. starting with that loss last week.
All right, UBD. I feel for UBD. Golly, I just don't know what to say. UBD might be the ultimate case who scores well week to week, but gee whiz, man, is he unlucky. Maybe he should have the name Dr. Unlucky, honestly. I mean, just looking at the track record, week 1, he scores 129. That's an L. Week 2, 134. That's a dub. Week 3, 120. L. Week 4, 104. L. And week 4 was that heartbreaking loss to Shahil when Big Dairy, popped off for 3 TDs. Who saw that coming?
I mean, yeah, that's quite unfortunate. Three
Yeah.
TDs, 6 for 6, 98 yards. And especially on Monday night, too, because, like, UBD, I would say Monday night is, like, UBD's definitely weakness.
Yeah. Even though UBD's in New York, I could just feel the pain that he was experiencing. That poor man.
Dude, yeah, good.
This team is definitely good. It's definitely good. I would be happy with this team.
Yeah.
He was keeping Robbie Anderson on the bench for way too long, I think, but I think
Yeah.
he's definitely
Because the star, yeah, 22, 13, 8, 13, like, very consistent.
yeah. Definitely make some corrections moving forward.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of the season. You're bound to make mistakes, but I know Kamish is pretty savvy, so he'll definitely tighten up his roster as the season continues. And
Yeah,
Raheem Mostert, he's had Raheem Mostert gone for 2 weeks now.
that's true. I mean, we all had our injuries here and there, so it's not like, I mean, I would say he's pretty lucky, like, compared to, like, other players. I don't think he has any, like, COVID players. He doesn't really have any, I mean, everyone he's got performing all the time. But the problem is that, like, when you got Patrick Mahomes dropping 40 points, right? Like, he's not going to do that a lot. And that's probably the best game he's going to have all season, right? And if you lose with that, that's just, like, terrible for morale, Like, how you're going 1-3. I mean, you got really good pieces, but
morale is definitely low, but the talent is there.
man, and then you got his, like, anti-jinx, and then you got his, like, pro-jinx. I don't know what's going on there, but he should stop doing that. He should
I think
stop.
Harden needs to quiet down and just focus on working hard and keeping that trap shut.
Yeah. 7, Jason Bick. Now, this is like, I don't know. Maybe I just played some 7 for no reason, but I feel like his players, I mean, he's 3-1, so, I mean, he's definitely, like, top one of the top dogs for sure. Like, I mean, like, that's the highest record, 3-1 right now. But I feel like his pieces are kind of losing momentum. I think, like, Matt Ryan is, like, losing steam. I mean, he was, like, QB, like, top 10 QB first 2 weeks, and now he's, like, getting, like, 11s and 10s, right? 11s and 12s. And then Josh Jacobs, actually, I was really surprised. Like, his production's gone really down. Like, he should have sold high immediately that week 1 against Carolina, because now you got 12, 7, 8, right? And KC might be an easy matchup there, but then you have a bye. So it's like, this is your first-round pick, and, like, he's not producing like a first-round pick should be, like a Dalvin Cook or like an Ezekiel. And then Melvin Gordon, I was surprised. I did not think he'd be playing this well this entire season. But now Philip Lindsay comes back, right? So losing steam there. And then Allen Robinson, great pick. Hooper, I mean, he popped off this week, but hasn't really been good for the most part. So,
yeah,
he should be lower.
If I was Bick, I would definitely be on the lookout for a big performance from one of his players to maybe ship off.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams has unfortunately been injured for
True.
Now he's on bye. I still think Devontae is a keep just because of how good Rodgers is this season. Devontae Parker he's solid. He's not as good as I was expecting he would be. I personally wanted Devontae Parker.
Yeah.
But I think as the season goes along, like, Fitz will definitely turn it up.
Mm-hmm.
And what is encouraging is that Preston Williams has kind of been a non-factor.
Okay. Yeah.
I will say that. But yeah, Jacobs has definitely slowed down.
For sure. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But I think, like, his record is better than what his team actually is. So we'll see. Next, Bole. So Bole 2-2 took a huge L to me last week. I mean, I've never seen anyone get dominated the way that he did. But this team is interesting, and I think it's also going to have some problems with let's see his team real quick. Let's go to week 5.
I'm actually surprised you put Bole at 6.
Where do you think he should be?
I think he's a top 3 team, honestly.
Okay, so this is why. So I think this is why, like, I ranked him lower. Because one, okay, I mean, he gets Le'Veon back, but I think Le'Veon with Gase is not going to be good. He just lost Eckler. He had Allen Lazard, and he dropped him. But, I mean, that guy was going to be good. I mean, Lazard got surgery, right? And then now you have this Patriots. So there's a lot of pieces that are slowly crumbling, right? Like, I don't think Kelly's the guy in LA because, he's fumbling the ball a lot. I think Justin Jackson's actually going to be the guy going to outscore Kelly in the future. And I think Prescott, he's had all his good games early. I don't think he's going to continue the streak of, like, throwing for 400 yards every single game. 400, 500 yards. I think his wide receivers, like, I don't know, Lockett didn't have a good game last week, yeah. But Deontay Johnson's a good pickup. I think he's the true wide receiver one in Pittsburgh. But, I mean, these pieces are – I mean, he's got the best kicker, but I feel like it's slowly crumbling, And, like, he just scored 90, and I think that'll be likely, like, what he'll score, like, in future weeks. It'll be, like, 90 to 100 type of range.
True.
Why do you think it's a top 3 team?
Bolay does have very good depth with.
That's true.
Julio, Scotty is definitely going to eat with Godwin, and
Yeah.
Evans is like always sort of injured, but he still scores somehow. But it's definitely something to keep in mind. MVS could potentially. Actually, no. What am I talking about? Probably not MVS. Noah Fant is definitely a good tight end to have on your team.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Bolay is definitely – I would not be surprised to see Bolay in the playoffs. And if he is in the playoffs, I don't want to play him because I have a bad history of playing Bolay, and it usually ends with me taking the L. So,
yeah, only time will tell. Okay, Pranav. And I was debating where to put this man because, like, I mean, I think, like, his team, like, I mean, it's all name value, right? That's what the man goes for. He wants to watch players in prime time all the time.
Oh, so, yeah. Nav is all about the flash over substance. But sometimes it pans out,
Yeah.
I think Kamara and Hopkins are about as good of a 1-2 combo as you could ever ask for.
Mm-hmm.
Odell is, like, starting to become the player that he used to be in New York.
He should have sold high, but yeah, sure, yeah.
Gronkowski, I don't know about Gronkowski, man. I think that's just way too much name value right there. I think he should start Ertz over Gronk, in my humble opinion. Sammy Watkins, same thing. I think he's just starting him because of he was like
that first week one. That first week.
number 4 pick in his draft, but honestly has been pretty underwhelming his entire career.
Yep.
Ingram is a really huge yikes, honestly, because that whole backfield is just the epitome of a RBBC.
Yeah.
Running back by committee, for those that don't know.
And last year, I think, or last year or the year before, I had Alex Collins, and like I never want to participate in the Ravens RBBC ever again in my life. Like that shit like blows. Like I don't know what's gonna happen. Are they gonna run with Lamar, give it to Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins?
You saw the video of Collins doing that Irish step dancing, and you were sold.
I saw that and I thought, wow, this is sneaky play. I might win the whole league with that. But I think because he played the way he did, and I think he got arrested too. Not that year, but the next year. Yeah, that's why I lost. I was in the finals that year. I had him, but
you lost because he got arrested.
No. I think he just like I don't know what happened to that man. I think he got injured that year, and then the next year he got arrested for step dancing. I don't know. Maybe that's not true, but we'll see. Oh, 4. Now this is exactly where I want to be, and let me tell you why. So I think like my team, low key, people, I was ranked like 12, like week 1, and then week 2, 11 or something. But my team is just starting to wake up.
I have to be completely honest.
Yeah.
After week 1, I was shitting on your team so hard.
That's true. Behind
your back, like so hard. I convinced everyone that your team was absolute garbage and that I would not want a single player on your team. And honestly, before this Zoom call, I was looking at your team again, and honestly, I'm kind of scared of this team.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to instill that fear into others.
Yes, and for a couple of reasons. One, you were unlucky to not have Kittle and Galladay for the first couple of weeks.
Right.
They were dealing with injuries and whatnot. Second, Gibson was like, I don't know, you were super high on Gibson for some reason. I didn't see it, but now I kind of am seeing it. And I think with the new QB in Washington, I think he'll only get better, honestly. I think Haskins is straight garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Davis, I think Mike Davis will be good until McCaffrey comes back because, honestly, McCaffrey is the most versatile back in the game. Like, there's no way he's not going to have, like, 80% of the backfield work.
For sure, yeah.
And Mixon.
Boy, did you ever have this kid?
To be honest, when Mixon was coming out of that draft, I think Leonard Fournette was in the same draft class, and I am on record. I think people can vouch for me. I'm on record for saying that Mixon was the most talented back in that draft class, like way more than Fournette.
Yeah, because he went in the 3rd round, I believe, right?
Something like that. And
Yeah.
honestly, I think he's just been pretty unlucky his entire career,
Mm-hmm.
dealing with like terrible O-line play. Dalton is only just above average at
Yeah.
best. But Burrow, man, he's kind of lighting up the league right now, despite poor O-line play. I think if they can just sort of like make better play calls for Mixon, I think he's gonna do a lot better moving forward. Not maybe 39 every week, but definitely like high teens to maybe low 20s.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the reason I drafted him is because once they paid him, right? They paid him like $50 million or something. So I was like, oh wow, they're investing into this guy, and it didn't really pay off these 2 weeks. I was like, holy fuck, why did I draft this man? But now looking at the snap percentage, 56, 51, 71, 83, it's going up, right? They're starting to use him more. Maybe like because there's no preseason, like O-line's not gelling, he's not gelling. But now things starting to pick up. Like of course, 39, we're not going to see that, right? 3 touchdowns. But hopefully, if he gives me a solid like 15, that's all I'm asking. I think, my team is straight. I think like the only knocks I have on my team is that like Terry McLaurin, Gibson, very reliant on the football team, right, to get me some dubs. But I think these players do have potential to, pop off like the way they did last week. I think like George Kittle 32. I think you're going to be seeing him 20s, 15s most of the time. DJ Moore is one guy that I'm trying to ship, honestly. So if anyone's listening, wants DJ Moore, I'm trying to ship this guy. Not really panning out the way I see it.
I'm completely out of that trade talk, but if anyone else is interested, hit him
You
up.
want this guy? I see you got 2 kickers on your team. Maybe you can add a 3rd one.
I was strongly debating picking him up.
Yeah.
But, for me, the Falcons are a lost cause.
Yeah.
I just want nothing to do with the Falcons.
It makes sense. It makes sense. That's why I really like, this matchup. They're going into you. Because Mike Davis, DJ Moore, I think they're each going to give me at least like 20. I think this is going to combine for 40 points.
All right, let's settle down a little bit.
All right, next guy. Shahil Johnny.
Oh, now this is surprising. I'm honestly, I think this is way too high. I think it's too high for Shahil. Honestly, despite whatever Shahil has said about his team, about it being like a top 2, top 3 team, it's honestly, in my opinion, like a bottom 5 team.
Oh, wow.
Merely because of the lack of point production.
Yeah. I mean, he's scoring in like the hundreds. Like he's scoring like I think he won 110 last week against Nihar.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And then the week before, it was like, what did he do? 97.
Not by just by playing lesser teams and getting lucky with those wins.
Yeah.
I could easily see this team being 0-4 right now.
Oh, for sure. But the reason why I have him so high is because like he's winning those games, right? And then once he gets McCaffrey back, that's a plus 30 every week, right? And who's he really replacing? Like Drake, like Henderson? Like Henderson's actually the back for the Rams. So I mean, I think like because he's winning these low win matchups, like it'll be so much better for him the next couple of weeks. That's why I have him so high. And he's covered he's covered Kenyon Drake with Edmonds, who I think is going to start taking over shit. Atanyan, great tight end, right? Like you're looking at these stats, like getting a touchdown every week, basically. So, but yeah, I mean, I agree. It could be a bottom 5 team for sure. And yeah,
I think if we lived in a fair world and everything was based off merit right now,
yeah,
it would be a bottom 3 team. Just my opinion.
Okay. And now Neil. So Neil's actually like pretty surprising. Like this is a good squad. Like I think more people need to know about this team. Like you got Dalvin Cook, Connor, Thielen, who I was low on Thielen. I feel like okay, so Diggs is gone. How much can this guy do, right? And Thielen's been amazing. Like what is he, like wide receiver 2 or something? Like the wide receiver 2? I don't know. But
yeah, this team is definitely it's one to watch out for.
Yeah. And dude, Keenan Allen, with the news that Herbert's going to be the starter going on, Keenan Allen is a top 5 wide receiver. So you've got like a top 5 wide receiver here with Thielen. You got a top 5 wide receiver with Keenan Allen. You got 2 RBs that are in the top 5 for sure. I mean, if Connor doesn't like pussy out.
Absolutely.
So I mean, and he's got a good bench too. So I mean, Fournette when he plays, I don't know what they're doing with him, but like This is a good player. He can just chill on the bench. His team is sick. But
Yeah.
quarterback is a huge problem for sure.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
Yeah, I think the only thing that would take this team over the top is if he had consistently solid quarterback play. I mean, Gardner Minshew has been pretty decent. He had a pretty shit week against Miami, which
Yeah.
was a little surprising. Although Russell Wilson also had a subpar performance for his standards against the Miami Dolphins as well. So maybe that was just an anomaly. But yeah, this team is definitely one to look out for.
For sure. For sure. And then finally, the number one team.
Oh
And I
man.
can't wait to beat it this weekend. So let me tell you why I put you number one. So I think you have actually like 3 top 10 running backs: Kareem with Chubb gone, Robinson, Clyde. These guys all have great matchups this week. And Russell Wilson's top 3 QB. Tyreek Hill, John Brown, amazing. Harrison Butker, great kicker. Bench, I mean, T. Higgins, great. Debo, great pick. Bullock's actually number 1 kicker right now. You should start that man. This is just a good squad.
You're trying to get in my head right now?
I know. You should totally start. I think you should start Bullock and Higgins. I mean, you should probably start Higgins over John Brown because I don't think they're going to play. But, damn. I mean, like, look, you're projected 130. No one else is projected even near that much. Like, right now, I got a 30% chance, right? That's because I'm projected 119. And, like, everyone else is kind of like the same. But right now, this is the team to beat for sure. And you lost week 2, right? To, like, a boom by the other opponent?
I got domed pretty hard by both.
Yeah. Man. Well, I mean, what do you think? Like, are you gonna make any moves in the future, or like, what's the deal with this squad?
I mean, my whole game plan was to just.
I heard you're hella complacent.
I wouldn't say complacent. That's not the word that I would use, but it all starts with the draft.
Yeah.
And for me, my philosophy this year definitely changed. It was, I was spending too much time, and I think this is also why Shrog has been suffering lately.
Yeah.
But I've just been, in past years, I've just been hounding mock drafts, just trying to do as much research as possible, and really trying to just like 5-head.
Yeah.
Be this like super conniving, sneaky guy. But honestly, what it really comes down to is just drafting your guys.
Yeah.
It doesn't, who cares about BPA? Who cares about projections or whatever? It's just about getting the guys that you trust. And that's what I did. And fortunately, it's paid off for me. Now, I will say I did get very lucky. I don't know who did this, but someone dropped James Robinson before the season started.
Oh, someone drafted him. I know you picked him. That's the first waiver wire pick we had in the league.
That's right. And honestly, that might just be the move that dictates the fantasy season.
Yeah, for me, like I knew that he was available, and I was like, okay, I don't want to touch that Jaguars backfield, right? Like, who knows what's going on? I thought they would use Chris Thompson because it was Jay Gruden was the OC there. So that's a good pick. And then this is a good pick too. I think you got Mark Andrews at the 4th round. And wow, 2 dud weeks here, but I mean, he can, if he's scoring points, it's going to be around that 20 point range. So, and then this one, do not draft Kareem Hunt. I do not want, split backfield, but this guy's sick. So
yeah, I was a little worried about Kareem Hunt heading into the season. I was wondering if, because I've had Chubb before and I knew how good he was.
Yeah.
I didn't know how much work Kareem Hunt would get. And honestly, he hasn't really gotten that much work, but he's been able to produce even with those limited touches.
Yeah.
Now with him having the backfield to himself, oh man. Man.
Dude, you've got like 1 Chiefs player, 2 Chiefs player, 3 Chiefs players, and then I guess 4 1 former Chiefs player, and that's my thing. Like, you're too reliant on them. Like, what if they get COVID? Then you're kind of fucked.
Well, that's why I got depth, baby. I got Godwin on the IR.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, 2nd round pick.
McKinnon. I think when Mostert comes back, he'll definitely still be the guy in that backfield, but I think McKinnon will still be pretty solid. And yeah, and if Debo comes back to full speed like he was, during the playoffs last year, I think there's only nowhere to go but up for this team, if I'm being completely objective.
I mean, you haven't gotten high score yet, have you?
I think I did 1 week.
Oh yeah, I Venmoed you last week. That's right. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. But dude, I think this matchup, I think it's gonna be close. If this 32-68, that's not real, dude. I think you better be scared. Bro.
I'm definitely not banking too much on these projections.
Yeah, dude, I wish there was a way to turn projections off. That's what they should do. These are so toxic, bro. Like, remember this man right here? He was projected 99 to 1%.
Yeah. Speaking of toxic, like as you know, I mean, you know, people joke about you being like the actual commissioner of this league.
Oh, whoa.
Honestly, like I'm like sort of 50-50 on that statement. But like, what would you like to see more out of this league? Would you like to see more trash talk? Would you like to see, you know, less? Like what's like, you know, it's only week 5. Like what are you feeling right now about it?
That's a great question. I think like I put an asterisk on this year just because like, you know, with COVID uncertainty. So like, you know, maybe, you know, because there's not a lot of trade. Only one trade's happened, right? That was like Malcolm Brown for
surprisingly lack of trades going on.
Yeah, surprising lack of trades. You know, the sleeper, you know, could this be more active? Like probably, but
we haven't Shrog. I don't think Shrog has had one trade yet this season.
Dude, he's been offering me some straight garbage. I think he offered me like he wanted like Joe Mixon and like McLaurin for like Montgomery. Like that was before you know, Mixon's big game last week. But man, it's just hard to say. Because see, for me, like, you know, I don't really want to trade because I don't know if one of my players does go down, right? Like luckily I have the depth to cover for that. And like I don't want to like give up 2 players for 1 right now if something were to happen to one of my players. So maybe that's why people are less likely to trade. But also, like, you know, if we do get more dialogue, I think in here in the chat or like through other means, then I think more trades will come. And I think it's always better if there's more like collaboration, more activity going on, because that'll just make for a more competitive league. Because there's some garbage leagues out there, let me tell you, where, you know, you got great guys sitting on the waiver wire. In another league, this guy Tanyan was on the waiver wire. I picked him up.
I mean, this league has consistently been very competitive. You know, waiver wires are always pretty thin.
For sure.
For the most part, people are pretty shrewd when it comes to trades. As far as like what is a fair trade, you know, might maybe save for Sherrod. But yeah, I just wonder if this whole COVID global pandemic has kind of put a blanket of, you know, apathy maybe over our league members, you know?
I do think so, but also I want to add that if, you know, COVID did not happen, right, and we did have that Vegas trip, that would have been sick. This league would have been evolved to the next level. That would have been some true hyper competitiveness, and we would have seen, I don't know, maybe next year we would have seen that higher buy-in, you know, higher, more competitive stuff going on. But I mean, I like the way the league is now. I think it's pretty awesome. I think we need definitely some more interaction going on here or like wherever. But yeah, I mean, next year, you know, definitely if we can make that Vegas trip happen, you know, let's get that going.
This whole season is definitely an interesting one. And
yeah.
I think, you know, for the good health of our league, I think it's important to look at this season as like a minor setback for a major comeback.
True.
Absolutely.
Could not have said it better myself. And with that, I think we're gonna close this one out. But I like this format. Let's see how it goes out. Let's see what other people think, and maybe we can, you know, we'll try it again with different people.
I'll fix these difficulties that I'm facing right now.
Yeah, you can't really see you, but I know you're there. So, all right,
man.
That was what should we call it? Should we call it something? This little thing?
Should we call it?
UBD Legends of the Week. Well, name pending. All right, that's it for now. Peace.